All right, good morning. Good. And good we're live. Good morning and welcome to the How Can I Help My Child series this beautiful Thursday morning. Welcome to the show, Morning Tonic. It is 8:30 a.m. Okay, a little after 8, and this is that time where we come and share on the questions that we get parents ask every now and then, especially for parents of young people and preteens. Because I work with young children in the mastermind circle and also with parents of these children. And of course, because I am an educator and I am constantly connecting with parents at different level, I get asked questions every now and then. And so, instead of answering questions one by one, why don't we come and put this in a program where we can share the many questions that we get day in, day out on how we can become better parents? This show is for you if you are a parent of a young child, a parent of a preteen, even for you who is a parent of a toddler or a parent of even a teenager. I always say to parents, the best way, hi Anita, how are you doing? I always say to parents, the best way to parents, especially in today's world where the distractions are endless, is that you are constantly asking yourself the question, what is the gap that my child has? When you put yourself on that, in that journey or on that journey where you're constantly asking, where does my child need help per time? Where does my child need help per time? Then you are constantly focused on supporting the child and you're constantly seeing something that you can throw your energy into. All right, so today we're talking about the role of books in fostering family connection. How can we use books, or how can books actually help us foster our connection in our family? Hi, Esther, it's good to have you. A family that reads together, their parents grows together through shared stories. These will help us as a family weave the fabric and the threads of our love and understanding and connection together. So when you read together, it gives you a chance to do so many things together. And we're going to be looking at three things that we can do when we read together as a family. And then I'm going to share with you how you can put this in your system. What strategies or what you can do to put the shared reading, as part of your family system. When we read together with our children, what we are doing is we are saying to our children, I've got time for you. I've got time to connect with you. I've got time to stay with you. I enjoy being with you. I enjoy doing stuff with you. Because what our children understand as love is our presence. What our children understand as love is us playing with them. And dear parents, for your child, whatever you're doing together that the child is getting a sense of satisfaction from is play. So, play is the language of love for your child. Play is the language of learning, and it also happens to be the language of love. So, what does it mean? If you have play in your system, then your child is feeling loved and your child is learning. So, whether you are folding a bunch of clothes together, you are doing this together, and the child is enjoying it. For you, a task is being done, a chore is being done for your child. We are playing, and your child is learning effectively, and your child is feeling loved. Whether it's a book, you're reading a bedtime story, or you are stopping to do a stop and read session in the afternoon, or you are doing whatever you call it, a body reading session with your child, the child is just simply excited knowing that daddy is here. I mean, it's an extra thing when it's even daddy, right? The child is just excited. I mean, daddy's back from work. He's had a hard day, but daddy's here. And this could be for just 5 minutes and 10 or 10 minutes. Yes, this child feels, the child's tank is filled up like you've been there the entire day. So it's just simple. Daddy's here. Daddy's got me on his lap. Daddy's got me by his side. Daddy's sitting down with me on the mat. We're sitting down together on the carpet, and we are sharing a book together. What you are doing, dear parents, is you are loving. You are loving your child. You are present in their life. They feel important at that time. They feel like you've left everything to be with them. Because of course you have, because at this point your phone should be somewhere far away. At this point you have shut down to the entire world to give your little princess, to give your strong man that you're raising your full attention. And parents, even if it is for 10 minutes, what your child sees is love, is importance, is relevance. That's all that your child sees at that moment. So yes, you can do this, and this is it. So through books, we can have this moment where our children feel they are important to us. Okay, number two, through books, we can pass down a very important heritage or very important legacy to our children, the legacy of reading. The legacy of reading. Reading is not just one of those things that you say, my child's hobby is reading. Reading is not a hobby. Reading is a life skill. It should be a lifestyle. You do not say, my child's hobby is going to school. I'm sure when they ask you, what's your child's hobby? You don't say, my child's hobby is going to school. You don't say, my child's hobby is going to church. You don't say things like that. These are part of your life, right? Going to church, going to mosque, your belief, your faith, right? Your child going to get an education in school is a lifestyle. It is what is a must. It is not optional. You do it or you do it, isn't it? So good. We need to put reading. You need to take reading books for leisure. And when I say reading books for leisure, I mean your child taking up a material and reading it not because they are under pressure, and reading it not because they need to write an exam on it, not because they need some reward, from someone else, or they have to be ticked, from it. Reading it because they love to read it, because they want to get knowledge from it, because they enjoy doing it for the sake of, knowledge. All right. So when you bring reading in that way to your home, then it becomes a lifestyle. So when we make time to read with our children, when we make time to introduce this skill and help them cultivate the habit of reading, we are passing down this very important skill that is a lifestyle to your child. You become the reason why your child takes, embraces, and owns this skill or this lifestyle. Number three, it helps you pass down your inheritance. It helps you pass down your heritage. It helps you pass down your convictions to your child. Yes, having reading as a part of your family system, having reading as a part of what you do, introducing books in your home is a great way to share with your child what your convictions are. It's an amazing way to pass down your legacy. A lot of times we talk about legacy, and every time we talk about legacy, all that we think of as average people is the fact that, I'm going to amass wealth, and I'm going to make sure that I write a will, and that my children will have all of it, and we make sure what goes to, each person is, what is due, all of that. That's what we think. So that's why we spend our entire life running a rat race of trying to amass wealth for our children. I mean, stop and think about it. You amass all of this wealth for your children. You gather all the companies and gather all the things that you can put together as what you are passing down to your child. After all, scripture says that we should pass down, our inheritance onto how many generations, right? So we're not doing anything wrong, and I'm not even saying it's anything wrong. But think about it, that you pass down all of this, yet you're not able to pass down your convictions to your child. So meaning you have all of this wealth, right? Yes, you cannot pass down the fact that you believe that hard work is key, right? You can't pass down the fact that you believe that hard work is key. You can't pass down the fact that you can be positive no matter the instance. The things that shaped your life as a person, the things that probably made you successful and able to build that empire that you've been able to build. You can pass down your convictions about faith. You can pass down your convictions about marriage. You can pass down your convictions about the creation of wealth, basically. All right, you can pass down all of these convictions to your child. You can pass down your work ethics to your child. You can't pass down your belief system on everything, your ideologies. You can pass down your ideologies. You can pass down your values. You can pass down what it is that you stand for as a person. So all of this, your child has got all of the wealth, and yes, your child actually doesn't feel like you need to put in all of that work. Get people to do all the things that you need to do. I mean, after all, why do I need to be in that company? I mean, get people to do your work. That could be your child's ideology. Get people to do the hard work. You just chill, or you're just, and before you know it, 10, 20 years down the line, all of the things that you spent you spent all the productive time of your life, right, building one child whose convictions or perspective to life does not align with yours, comes and brings everything down just because you were not able to keep them close enough to pass down your convictions about life to them. All right, you sit down there and then you have this whole legacy of someone with integrity, and all of that. You couldn't do anything to compromise yourself. You couldn't do anything to bring a bad name to your family. You couldn't. You would rather lose everything. You would rather die than compromise yourself or smear your family name. Yet you are not able to pass down these convictions to your children. Your children do not know the importance of your family name as a heritage. Your children do not know the importance of, whatever it is that you stand for. And then you are no more, you're no more. You can even be alive and your children are now of age, and you see that the things that matter to them are totally different from the things that matter to you. Okay, and then all we are shouting is this generation. But no, how can this generation be anything that you believe in when you have not bothered to pass down your convictions? You have just assumed that your children seeing you driving into the garage and driving out of the garage, your children seeing you going out and coming back at 10 p.m. every day should simply say to them, you are being hardworking. And that's it. There is nothing in between. There is no substance. There is no depth. There is nothing revealing about what it is that you do from 7 a.m. that you leave your home till 10 a.m. that you come back. There is nothing. That whole thing is blurry. That whole time is blurry in the head of your child, and the child does not know what it is that you stand for. You are someone that is a philanthropist. You are someone that is all about, the environment. You're someone that is all about nature. You have all of these mighty, mighty convictions. You are this person in your work, in your church, in your mosque, in whatever religion. You are that person that is dedicated, yet you have not been able to pass down that convictions. These convictions to your children. So you see, we take a lot of things for granted, and so we raise children without them, knowing what it is that we stand for and all of that, because we assume that they should know by just looking at us, when we do not involve them in the things that we do that shows or models these convictions to our children. So if we're not modeling them in a way that our children are a part of it, or our children are seeing these things, then it will not be passed down to them. So when you get books now, whatever your convictions are, you start having a conversation with your children about your convictions, and then you get books in the area of these convictions, and you share these books with your children. What do books do? Books will open up their mind and will open up the conversation for you to share your perspective. It is from sharing your perspective constantly with your child that your child is able to see what your convictions are, and your child is able to buy into those convictions through critical thinking and the analysis of what it is that you stand for and the things that you believe in. For instance, I have 2 new books that are on their way in the next few days. Okay. So in the next few days, so one of our books that we've just written is Destined for Greatness. All right. So it's for your preteens. I write for preteens. So one of the books we've just written is Destined for sorry.
Destined for Greatness.
Don't worry, remember. So one of the books we've just written is Destined for Greatness. Sorry, my daughter is here with me. All right. So one of the books we've just written is Destined for Greatness. Now, in that book, we have gently, you know how we do it. We have gently used stories to put, into the minds of our children, um, values and all that they need, to be great. All right. And we don't leave it at that. We didn't leave it at that. We're able to use the stories of African icons to drive home, these values, and these characters and values and traits that will the children need to imbibe today in order for them to prepare themselves for greatness and for the purpose that God has created them. Now, think about this, that as a parent, you get this book, you will get this book, you should get this book. You get this book and you are able to read with your child. What it would do is you are going to read through those stories together. It's fun when mommy is telling the story, when daddy is reading the story. You're able to read through the stories together. And while you're reading the stories, you're able to tell and throw your perspective behind the stories of these African icons that we are talking about. So you are having a conversation already, because you definitely will know, or at least can research, these African icons that we have shone the spotlight on in this book or through this book. And so, as a parent, you are able to share your perspective. You are able to bring more life to that story. And while you are at it, you are able to tie it to your family values and what you believe as a person. Now, this is how you are already building into your child what your stance are. This is how you are already building into your child what your convictions are on these matters. And this is how books can be used basically to foster, your connection as a family. Should I continue? All right. The last one I'm going to share with you is your spirituality and your faith beliefs. I hope you know that books, reading books, all of it we're talking about is anything that you are reading, or you are consuming, any content that you are consuming for knowledge, basically. So when you are reading the Bible, you're reading the scripture, you're reading your Quran, you're reading your faith book, you are also introducing books and reading to your child. But the thing is, you don't want to leave it just with your faith books. You want to also introduce different genres and different culture and different perspective, okay, to reading with your child, basically. So that's why you want to stretch it beyond just faith books. You want to read, books that will help them that will help them develop their minds, books that will help them imagine things. So, yes, fiction books are great. A little non-fiction book, throw it here gradually. This is also great. What you're doing is you're opening your mind, your child's mind, to accepting different genres and different perspectives to a story. You're introducing endless characters to them. You're introducing different experiences to them. This is what books will do for you if you can get your children. And when I say early, dear parents, I'm talking about your 1 month old child. I'm talking about your 2 month old child. That's what I'm talking about. Your child at every level. We can introduce books at any level of our child's development. Very, very key. All right. So you can pass down your faith and your convictions, right, through reading the word of God, scriptures together with your children. This is also reading. Creating that time where you can actually go through scriptures with your children. That you go to church together, your child is in Sunday school and you are in the main church, does not share your perspective or your convictions to your child. See, you know that thing that we keep praying, as my coach would say, you pray to the God of this pastor, that pastor. At what point are you going to introduce your God to your child? You know how it is, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, when the children, right, when their children spoke in the Old Testament, they always remembered the God of their fathers. Will your child remember your God? Will your child, have you been able to personalize your God in your life such that your child can look at you and your testimony as a mother and your testimony as a father? I'm not talking about the testimony that you speak, the testimony that your life is. Is your child going to look at the testimony that your life is? And your child will believe, just because your life is a testimony, that when your child is in trouble, your child will say, may the God of Mary Beth, may the God of my father, may the God of my mother come through for me. Because, yes, as David, as he is the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac, so is he the God of you, isn't it? So will your child meet your God through you? Now, how can your child meet your God through you? It is through what it is that you model as a parent intentionally. What it is that you model as a parent to your child. How does your child see you show up? How does your child see you obedient to the things of your faith? How does your child see you show up in your faith? How does your child see you? For those of you who, those of us who are, whatever it is that your denomination is, whatever it is, what does your faith say is the right way to live your life? Does your child see you live your life? Now, what is your personal relationship with God? All right? That personal relationship with God is going to form your convictions, because this is what you're going to share. This is what you're going to sit down and talk about and share with your child when you have these conversations. So why wouldn't you make time? 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, so that your child gets to meet your God through you, through your perspective, through your convictions. These are the greatest gifts that you can give your child, because as it is, these convictions become what it is that your children carry around. These are the convictions that your children stop, and 1 minute they're thinking and they get right into it. I'll give you an example. The other day, okay, our son had to go. So there was an opportunity for our son to go, for a gathering, something like that. And in that gathering, they were supposed to go like with friends, pairs, and all of that. So there was something that was called a couple's ticket, and all of that. And we were talking about it at home, and I was asking, are you going? Is it a thing? Because we don't make this decision. We allow these children make this decision based on our values and based on what it is that they know. So he was there and he was thinking, and our daughter chipped in straight up. Our 9-year-old chips in straight up, and she said, no, you can't go. We don't date for leisure. So if you're going to have to need to go with a date, we don't date for leisure. So you are not going, So, but then that's on the flip side, yeah. But as they grow older, these conversations will become more solid. All right. These conversations will become more solid. These conversations, the perspective we throw into those conversations will give them deeper understanding that will help them form their own boundaries, that will help them form their own convictions, that will help become the standard when they need to make decisions concerning all of these things. Okay, so this is part of the reason that as a parent, you need to find yourself in a community of parents where you are having shared, interest and shared experiences. You are learning. It still takes a village to raise a child. So get yourself into a parenting community for you as a parent. I don't run one, okay, but I belong to a very solid one. And if you would like to be a part of it, I am glad to share with you how you can get in. But apart from that, get your children into communities themselves. Get your child into systems where they hear the kind of things that they need to be hearing right now. There are too many jargons out there. There are too many skewed narratives out there. There are too many confusion going on out there. So the information that our children have are way too many informations. Like this, they click here, they click there, information's everywhere. All right, they click here, they click there, different narratives all over the place. If you don't put them in a place where during adolescence, where they start listening more to the convictions of their friends and their peers, if you don't put them in a place where they have the right kind of peers and the right kind of convictions, peers who are operating from the convictions that they have been taught all of these years before they became 14 and 15 and all of that. If your children are not in that kind of space, right, they will get even more confused because they have friends who stay up and play games till 1 a.m. They have friends who watch all kinds of musical videos. They have friends with two fathers and two mothers. They have all kinds of friends. So if you don't put them, if you're going to depend on just their neighbors and the classmates and, all of these people all over the place, basically, who probably don't even share similar values with you. If you're going to depend on the conversations your children are having with these people to be what shapes them, because yes, this would also shape them as well as what you're doing with them will shape them. If you're going to depend on this, then you're going to make a mess of the children. So you have to put them in a system where they can be with like-minded people with the same vision, people with the same passion, and all of that. And that's where the mastermind comes in. We run a formidable and amazing and effective peer mentorship and accountability system where I mentor your child. The children get to mentor themselves through shared experiences, of course, and of course the things that they do ends up motivating each other. So we put them in groups with their peers where each one is challenged, each one is stretched, each one is challenged, right, to start doing something. Each one is challenged to live their life in the best way that they can, to be the best version of themselves. And while they are doing that, each one is getting inspired by another person's journey and all of that. It is such a vibrant community and such a great strategy to helping our children stay on track and then grow through the right process and with the right company in that process. So if you have a child between 6 and 14, then run and bring them to the mastermind, because the next cohort of the mastermind starts on the 1st of September and you want to get in before then. The mastermind is affordable. Yes, it's not free at all. It's affordable, but it's a 1-year subscription program where you get to pay only about less than 6,000 naira every month. So it brings the entire fee for a whole year to just 70,000. Even a lesson teacher that teaches Yoruba or Hausa or whatever, just Nigerian language, right, will not take that for 2 months, right? Okay, so that's it. So it's what you pay lesson teachers for a month or 2 months, isn't it? That's what you need to pay for an entire year. And what we bring to the table cannot be compared with any of these things. All right. So if you would like your child to be in the mastermind, we have the information scrolling in a few minutes. I need you to screen grab it and, of course, reach out to us or use the information there to book a slot. You need just 5,000 to book a slot today, and then you can pay off before we start up. But reach out to us, whatever the case may be. All right. Yes, you can do all that. All right. So quickly, I'm just going to go through what it is that you can do. All right. So as a family, you can come together and put together a book list at the beginning of the month or at the beginning of the year of the books that you want to read together as a family. So put a book list together that you can do by going to the library together or going to the bookshop together, a family bookshop, the library, and all of that. Put a book list together, and then you can begin to tick off your book list gradually as you read, pending on the ages of your children. All right. The next thing you want to do is create that system in your home where there is a deliberate or intentional attempt, all right, to read, or intentional plan for you to read daily. All right, daily or during the week, or however you want to do it during the weekend, based on your family dynamics. Do that. Now, when you do this, what will happen is that time becomes, a sacred time where everybody knows that, it is time to read. And so we call it in our home, we call it stop and read. So the stop and read time is when everybody stops everything they're doing, or till everything goes off and everybody picks a book in your little space. Just chill there and you read a book. So by doing this, even if it's for 10, 15, 20, or 30 minutes, you are cultivating that habit, and you're allowing the children practice to internalize this skill, and make it a part of their life. All right. So put this into your daily activities, and all of that. The next one is you want to celebrate your reading milestones, right? You want to celebrate your reading milestones. So every time they finish reading a book, you want to celebrate it. It could just simply be, don't make them, don't make them slaves to praise and hope, expecting a gift every time they read a book. No, but once in a while you can just simply gift something just because you've been doing so well, reading. Just do that. But basically, make sure you're celebrating. You are done reading that book. Wow. I celebrate the effort you put into doing that. Oh, you finished reading it in 1 week this time. You are becoming such a ferocious, just make sure that you are acknowledging and all of that. Now, another thing you can do is create a system where your children can review the books. You can use this to teach a ton of other skills. This is how I got my children to, become stronger in public speaking. What we do is we get them to read the book, and weekends on a particular day. It could be once in a week for your family, could be twice in a week, could be once in a week, or in a month, could be twice in a month, could be every weekend. Just do what works for your family. Where everybody is around, you could just prepare some snack, popcorn, or whatever, and then just connect the laptop, get them to read, do a PowerPoint presentation. Our daughter started doing PowerPoint presentations since she was 6 going on 7. And it wasn't in school that she started learning to do PowerPoint presentation at 7. It wasn't in school that she started learning PowerPoint presentation. It was right at home, because she had to do PowerPoint presentations to review her books that she read. So when she was much younger, I would work with her to do her presentation on cardboard paper. So while her brother was using a PowerPoint presentation for his own review, she would have her cardboard paper, all right, that we would probably stick to the whiteboard, and then she can review from the board. And then after that, she moved to using markers, so she enjoyed that one a lot. Children like to write on the whiteboard. Okay. So at some point, she will use markers and try to do her presentation on the board while we're watching and all of that. And so gradually she, grew into creating PowerPoint presentation, her slides. So she too can use a slide. All right. So they do that on the slide, and then you connect it to the large TV in the living room. It just brings more. You know how Warren Buffett says, if you want to raise exceptional children in today's world, just make your children do a little more. Let them do a little more than the average child would do. Let them do a little more than average people do. Because we live in a world where people want to do the barest minimum. So you will be equipping your child and setting your child apart when you make them do a little more. This is how you will make them become outstanding. I'm giving you too many expos today. I hope you're writing them. All right. So that's it. So you can do all of these things. We've gone past our time, so I'm going to stop in the next 2 minutes. So you can do all of these and incorporate all of this into your family system. And what you will realize at the end of the day is you are connecting as a family. You are bonding as a family. Your children are building skills. You are sharing your perspective. You're sharing your convictions. Your children are getting better. Your children are more confident. Your children are more exposed. Your children are more knowledgeable. Your children are stable. Dear parents, wouldn't you want to do this for your child? Now, you are lost, you don't know where to start with this. We have an amazing challenge that is coming on. We have a 30 days reading challenge. In that challenge, it's not just about the child. All I have talked about today are all incorporated in that challenge. In that challenge, we will have activities for every day. So think about it, over 30 activities that we would be introducing to you and to your child that you can put in your system. Basically, amazing fun activities, because we understand the place of motivation when you want to build zero readers to lovers of books. Even if you are a parent of a child who already loves the book, there are levels to reading books. There are levels to the love of books. Do you know, the first day I had a guest here on Monday, she said her cousin loved to read books so much that when there is no book to read, she would actually take a dictionary and begin to read the dictionary. So you can imagine how that person will be as far as vocabulary goes. See, let these things that they are doing around you not confuse you. Let people wearing big diamonds and speaking crass out of their mouths not confuse you. Let young people, or let adults who carry Hermes bags and do not have any substance to give to the world, let them not confuse you. Don't use silly statements like, I would rather cry in Dubai than waiting in Nigeria. Don't use these things to confuse yourself. The world that your child is preparing for, the world that you are preparing your child for, will separate mediocres from people who know what it is that they are doing. The world ahead of us will separate mediocres from people who have got substance. Don't get carried away by 10 people, 100 people in an industry where there are millions of people who are struggling. Don't look at the life of 10 or 100 people in that industry. Those are the people who have set themselves apart. And a lot of times they don't tell you the hard work that goes behind the scene. So what they portray for our children to see are the glam, right? The glitz and glam is what our children end up seeing. These people do not even have a formula to share with your child to say, this is how you go about success. These people do not even know how to raise prodigies. So, yes, they are doing the hard work. Fluke here, fluke there. They're doing the hard work, talent here, talent there, but your children do not know what they can't put together how what the formula is for your child to follow. So let these people not be. Let these people not be the models that your children have. Build your child from scratch. Make your child have substance. Let your child carry substance, such that the scripture that says, out of your belly shall flow the rivers of living waters. Let that scripture be your child's anchor. So, whatever and wherever your child finds themselves, your child is like fluid. Let your child speak like Elon Musk will say. Take everything that I have and leave me in a desert, and I will still be a wealthy man. I'm going to leave you with that today. Thank you for joining me on the show today. We'll be back here for the last show for this week on Friday at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow again. If you got value from the session, why don't you share the link with your friend? Why don't you tag your friend on this video so that they can read and be a part, so that they can watch and be a part of this? And more importantly, let them get their children into the reading challenge. The reading challenge is just 3,500 naira, and I will be with your child for a whole 30 days. That's like 150 naira per day. Come on now. Come on now. All right. So nobody that has a child between 0 and 13 years old should miss this challenge. Share with your friends, share with everybody. If you see the flyer anywhere, share it, share the link. Let them bring their children. If nothing else, let us raise a village of children who know and are doing the right thing. This is the only way we can make a difference in our society. This is the only way we can change the narrative that these people are working so hard to make a mess of. All right, or the society that people are working so hard to make a mess of is a narrative that we share, and we can only do this by raising more children who are equipped. All right, so in the comment section after this video, you will see all the links that you need to join the book challenge or to join the mastermind circle. All right, do do something today. Take an action today. Don't just watch and walk away. Thank you very much. I'll see you again tomorrow at 8:30. Bye.